Oh, hello there. Today I'm going to be making a song exclusively with the OG Minilogue. My reasons for doing so are twofold. Firstly, I've done this type of project with other machines and it's just fun. So to me, that's a good enough reason on its own. But perhaps even more importantly, today I'm going to try and break my Minilogue funk. Lately I've been feeling similarly about my beloved Minilogue as I do about a lot of my favorite video games. I've had so much fun making music with it, and I have a lot of really good memories with it, but you can only play your favorite games so many times per decade. Maybe I'm putting a bit too much pressure on it. Well, time to make a song, let's find out. Okay. Alright, well, that's just gonna have to be a good kick. So, I'm gonna pick a color. We're doing yellow for drums. We're gonna go with Donkey Kong Country 64 colors. Because there's gonna be at least 5 tracks. Probably only 5 types of tracks. Let's see. So, this is kick. Let's make some kick patterns. I don't know. I feel like doing something in swing today. Maybe a little slower. A lot of these sounds I'm going to turn the knobs while it records to make the sound change while it plays, but for the kick drum, no. Cool, so that's a kick. Let's do hats. So that would be like, I could just literally turn the oscillator down and turn the noise up. I'm not really saving presets. Oh look, it's a hi-hat already. Okay, so we got a hi-hat pattern. Let's quantize that and re-record it. Using a drum machine would be way better. Using a drum machine would be so much better than trying to create beats this way. Snare. And I'm gonna have to use some sort of processing for the kick because I don't think the Minilogue can make a very good kick sound on its own. You could use the cross mod, I guess, to make it a little better, but it's gonna need some saturation and probably some sort of like gate. I'm gonna have to shape the transient on that kick for certain. So again, like, this is sort of a challenge project. You probably wouldn't ideally be using your Minilogue to create kicks since it can do MIDI. You could just trigger nice kick samples in your DAW, or use a drum machine if you don't want to use a DAW. We're just trying it. We're just experimenting here. You know, only Minilogue allowed, so kicks have to be Minilogue. I'm gonna allow myself only stock plugins to process, like basic free stuff, and no sounds will be generated from those plugins. They will only be affecting sounds that have been generated by the Minilogue. Red, purple, blue, green. We'll decide what these things mean later, but if I had to give one of these bass, I think it would be purple, so that'll be that. Let's see, I would give... I don't know what I'll give the other ones yet, we'll find out. Bass is going to be purple. Tiny Kong would play bass. Alright, let's lose this, go back to my penguin bass preset. I've used this quite a bit. It's pretty good. I kind of want to make a bass patch from scratch though, so let's go to any of these. Looks like we have init programs. Just use the stacked saw bass. It's so easy. It sounds good. And that should obviously bun Cool. Just playing with the release knob a little bit over there. That's probably fine. That's enough bass for the song. Oh, okay. Let's see here. Let's make the next part, I don't know, chords? Yeah, that's all the path I need. Let's do some other fucking sounds. Red is gonna be leads, melodies. Green is probably also gonna be like a cuter melody. I don't fucking know. Okay, we're gonna take a break, so my camera battery looks like it might be getting low, and also I need more coffee. We'll be back. Okay, we're back with more coffee, and also, I think we're pretty far on this song. There's only a few layers left that I probably need to do. It's going pretty fast because the Minilogue doesn't is not that complex. Well, Logic just fucked up on me. That's unacceptable. Let's come up with a melody for over here. Let's use a different sound. That's good enough, probably. I don't know. It's probably fine. So, I chose to do this song in swing because I like swing, but I don't know if the arpeggiator in here does swing. It probably does. Let's find out. Jesus Christ, how do you fucking... I'm sure I could, like, read the instructions. Someone could probably correct me in the comments, but as far as I can figure out, cannot do swing, so I guess screw that idea. This is a sound from the Minilogue, but it's like a really simple sound, but I made it, I was copying a preset from the Hydra synth that I like, and it just happens to be that it's a simple sound, so the Minilogue has no problem handling it. I can do this sound equally well on my Hydra synth, and I don't think the fact that it's analog adds any value. They sound different. I don't think that the Minilogue sounds better. They're not that different. You can get them so close that you'll never be able to tell in context of the mix. Okay, that's pretty cool. Well, I think I put in all the parts. I mean, I guess I'll turn the camera back on if I decide to add any more drums, but I think at this point it's just processing and arranging. So I'm going to turn the camera off, process my sounds, and arrange the composition into a song rather than a bunch of stacks of layers. We'll be back and talk about how it went shortly. Okay, so the song is arranged. I like the sounds I got, though I don't feel like I unearthed anything new. I think I'm happy with the song, so here's my final thoughts before we take a listen. First off, it definitely does not excel at drum sounds. It's hard to dock points off for that since it isn't designed for drums. That being said, my other synths can totally handle drum sounds. Even the little Roland S1, which costs like a third of the price, can make pretty good drum sounds. And before I release this song, the release version will be different from the version you're about to hear. This version is just the Minilogue. Eventually I will release, really release a version on like Bandcamp or streaming or whatever. And when I do, I will definitely be augmenting the drum sounds a little, which is fair. It's like a synthesizer. Like a synthesizer doesn't have to be good for drum sounds, but as far as use only this for sound, I think it only really could do that with chiptune, if I'm being honest, if it needs drums. Maybe some ambient stuff or something anyway. I definitely started to ram up against the limitations of the Minilogue early on in the track. When I first got it, it was a great instrument to express myself with. It could do everything I wanted. But now, years later, after lots of growth and becoming familiar with far more advanced tools, I have a lot of ideas that are very limited by what the Minilogue can do. So like a lot of things I think of, just the answer is no. The Minilogue will not And that's fine. It's like a limited sound palette. Like, we'll talk more about that later. Just as the last thing that I didn't really like about it was really like the first time I noticed it. After years of playing with it, I noticed it earlier this week and I noticed it again today, is that there's not really a variety of sweet spots on the filter. Most of the places that you can put the filter at sound to me like brittle, harsh, and metallic despite being analog. Like it does have sweet spots where you can get like multiple different types of good sounds, but they're like narrow. To me. That's my experience. Let's see. On the other hand, those limitations did really force me to think about my riffs and layers, especially since I couldn't compensate with an abundance of shiny sound textures. The simple sound palette does lend itself really well to complex melodies and multiple layers. The sounds it makes fit well in a mix and didn't need much EQ. If you're watching this video to help you decide if you should buy one or keep one or sell one or not sell one or something, here's my advice. It's amazing for chiptune, specifically, in similar styles. You can use it for a wider range of genres if you have a drum machine or use drums from a DAW. So that's like most people, I think, right? I don't think a lot of people are looking for their keyboard synthesizer to be their like main drum sound. I do it a lot, but I don't know how common it is, or if it is common. I don't have a good frame of reference for that. So you could definitely use it for like electro pop, electro swing, oh, definitely synthwave. Similar genres like to that ballpark. Minilogue is just gonna knock it out of the park, sounds great for those. Again, especially if you have like a drum machine or can use drums from your DAW. It excels at bass and is way better than the Moog Minitar or the Novation Bass Station in my opinion. It can do the Juno thing for the most part, which I love. And despite it having a limited sound palette, again, is a sound palette that works well with itself, like when a painter chooses a specific set of colors because those colors work well together. That's the Minilogue. It does not have every color, not even close, but it has, like, enough. Whether it's the palette you're looking for, I don't think that for me it could be like the only palette I use. But maybe like it could be the only palette I use to perform with like a specific band, or with a specific artist, and so again, so like the palette is a good one, but and it is limited, but despite being limited, it still has a wider range than most most vintage analog synthesizers. So it's like the Minilogue is limited by, if you compare it to most of today's modern synthesizers, but if you compare it to like the vintage analog synthesizers of the 80s and 90s that people love, it holds up actually really well. It can do most of the things that those synthesizers can do, if not all of them, and in most cases more. So that's cool. If you're into classic synthesizers, this will definitely scratch that itch. So it is a good synthesizer, and if you plan on jamming or performing with a band, it's a solid choice for classic synthesizer sounds. If you were going to use it to make music in a DAW, I would say a MIDI controller and some plugins would serve you better, and still be just as much fun to make music with. As for myself, I do still love the Minilogue, and I also think I have outgrown it in many ways. I don't think I could bear to part with it, so I think I'm gonna keep it as like a player 2 synth for friends and students. And of course, I can always dust it off when I want that sweet old school iridescent Space Penguin sound palette. Anyway, sorry for the long ramble. I've been Nick Tuttle at Misty Music Studio. I hope you like my song.